Good morning, ladies, because basically it's only women who watch this channel, and I kind of low-key love that. So, good morning. I was in bed this morning going through this Facebook group I just joined called Cancel Micah and James Stauffer. And people are sharing a ton of links. It's like, man, there are some detective internet sleuths out there who uncover things that are like, man, I hope I never mess up because, Jesus, people are crazy and it's awesome. Just going through things like their Amazon page, check it out here. They've got this Pinterest, go check it out. And they're like, and they mobilize. It's great. Like, there's so many people that are like, the thing about this whole situation with Mike and James is that they've, like, if you think about this is crazy. It's literally spawned pages and channels like this one. And it's something that people are really, really passionate about, and justice, you know? Man. Oh, come on. Man, what? Here we go. Ooh. Love it. Someone posts, how long till they start an OnlyFans account? I'm pretty sure the only thing she's going to have left after this is an OnlyFans account. Although, I don't know what an OnlyFans account is. The reason I came on this morning, just because I just read this quick article, it's not going to be a long video today, but I wanted to get into this, and a lot of people have been asking me about my, wanting to explain about being an ex-pastor. And I will get into that in a future video. I'm just trying to get up the nuts to do it, okay? It's a huge issue for me. It's just going to be a big one, and I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to tell you guys all about it and be truthful at the same time, be fair, when it's going to be really hard to be, and raising your kids in church and all that kind of stuff. And I'm getting a lot of heat from Latter-day Saints and Mormons saying that they're not all the same. And again, we're going to get into that another day. But the article I'm going to touch on, I say all that pastor stuff to say that it's coming from this site called Religion News Service. Which, by the way, religion sucks, so don't read this stuff. But anyway, from the author Heidi Weiner. It's Weiner. She writes this article about the Stauffers, and she quotes a bunch of people's angry comments first. She then goes on this and says, Micah Stauffer, who gives parenting advice on YouTube to more than 700,000 subscribers, announced May 26 in an emotional video with her husband that they rehomed their son roughly 18 months after adopting him from China. I can't speak to the specifics of the situation, but as an adoptive mom to 7 children, I know firsthand what goes into building a family of kids with uncommon needs and unknown struggles. The devastation when we have to place them in others' care, even temporarily as a unique heartache, is terribly isolating. It's nearly impossible for anyone who has not been through it to understand. I don't believe that's true. I think people can really understand things without going through them, right? A lot of my viewers are women. You've never been kicked in the nuts, but you know it hurts, right? You know it does. It hurts. So I'm just saying, while adoption can be beautiful, it's always complex. Miraculous when it works out, devastating when it is not. Blah, blah, blah. She goes on to say all this crap. Yeah, we get it. You've adopted 7 years. She's virtue signaling. Like, I've done it, so I'm the authority on it. So listen to my article, because I've adopted 7. Well, I've adopted 2. I'm not as awesome as this person, and I don't claim to be awesome because it was never my plan to adopt. We did it out of pure necessity for family, and we love that we did, but it's not the reason we did it. But she goes on to say 5 reasons why their critics are wrong. So I'm a critic. All of you are basically critics, except for the 4 people who comment in my every video about how wrong I am and how selfish I am about doing this. And so she goes on to say, here's why you're wrong. First, intellectual laziness. We Americans tend to avoid nuance. And I actually kind of agree with that. We think dualistically, sizing up others as all good or all bad. We neglect the in-between and think too simply black and white. Engaging takes effort, so instead we lazily choose judgment. Right. So basically what she's saying here is that there's nuance to the story that we're not all talking about. And I hope that I've, maybe not as much as I'd like to have been, but I've been like, try to give the benefit of the doubt as much as possible. Like, I don't think that they did this on purpose to get views. Some people will say adamantly, yes, they did. They found an algorithm that worked on YouTube and they just exploited it. I just don't want to say that without absolute proof, and we'll never have it. And she's kind of right about that. She says, we Americans. So I get away with this. I'm Canadian, not part of this. Political Canadians definitely are more nuanced. Canadians have a different view on certain things, for sure. But not as much. We're pretty similar in the way that we think. So I'm not really disagreeing with that point, but that could be for anything, right? justification of our inaction. We can judge an adoptive family who made the hard choice while patting ourselves on the back that I would never do that. Meanwhile, though, 150 some odd million kids sit in orphanages around the world. 100,000 foster kids in our own country wait for adoption. We could stay out of the ring while judging those in it. Well, I think a lot of people that are commenting on this and are passionate about it are actually people who've done it. So she's kind of wrong with that. Most of the comments and people that are following these bigger channels, they either have kids, and I'm not saying they all do, but most of them have kids who are either, like look at Crystal Ball, she's got a kid who has autism. I think autism, I'm not sure. I don't want to say that's true, but I think so. Like she's passionate about it because she's close to the situation. And I've adopted. And I know a bunch of other people who are psychologists and things like that who are commenting on this. So she's basically calling out a bunch of people that are on the outsides. But the main people that are covering this for reals are generally people who kind of understand what's going on, especially me. And so maybe that's why people kind of follow and listen to this, because I'm actually from a place of understanding pissed, right? And she's right. There are tons of kids sitting in orphanages. There are tons of kids waiting for adoption and fostering. But you also can't just say, well, because you're not adopting and fostering, you don't have a say. This is the dumbest logic I've ever heard in my life. It's so stupid. Why can't people comment something they're passionate about, even if they've never adopted? Just stop saying this stuff. You're excluding people from the outside for your argument, so you can be like, I'm right, because you didn't do any of this, so you don't get a say. That's just piss off with that, okay, Wiener? Artificial sense of security. Believe it or not, other adoptive parents can be the most judgmental. They have convinced themselves that their child is faring better as a result of their own superior adopting parenting, not because of factors outside their control, such as genetics, trauma, and mental illness. We judge others so that we can tell ourselves it would never happen to me. I mean, she's just going generic, vanilla statements that kind of talk about everything. She looks like she pulled this out of a magazine and just, compared it to the Stauffer situation. She's right. Other adoptive parents can be super judgmental. I was on this adoptive Facebook group for Canada, Adopt for Life or something like that. And somebody was commenting on something and I just had enough. I forget what it was and I don't want to uncover most of it, but I just basically laid into these people about being selfish and I wasn't judging them, but they were saying some stupid things and I just laid out and they deleted me from this group and I was okay. I only went on there once in a while to kind of just stir it up because I have a dissenting opinion often, but a balanced opinion. So a lot of people on these groups, like these mommy groups and these adoptive groups, are just looking to tell me that I'm right about the situation and that my viewpoint's right. And it's kind of the way the world is. And if you don't agree with them, they kind of kick you out because someone cried. If you're going to adopt and foster and stuff like that, just find people that understand, that or you trust, and don't get on these groups, okay? Stay off mommy blogger groups and all these things. These things are just these things are cancer. These groups are gross, most of the time. Adopt for Life I'm not saying that they're gross, but they're just, and I'm not butthurt that I got kicked off. Maybe I'm a little butthurt. She's right about that though, that these people judge each other really harshly. So if you're not, just be happy that you're not in that circle of people. Falsely assuming a moral choice. Releasing a child in another's care is never a decision made lightly and has nothing to do with a simple moral choice. You can't say that because you don't know. If the child stays in the family suffers from anxiety and compound trauma. So instead of dealing with only one child with trauma, suddenly the parents have an entire family of traumatized children. They are too traumatized. If they remove the child, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that she's wrong about this. This happens. Failed adoptions happen all the time. And again, I have never said this, that I don't think that that's the reason that we're all upset here. This happens. And we're going to get to understand a little bit later what I'm talking about here. Playing God. We cannot know God's plan for family or child. We are not God. Oftentimes, the second placement is more successful than the first, not because of a fault in the first family, but because a child often releases their pain like a torrent on the first family, and then it's better able to bond with a second family. Or if the original adoptive family was not equipped for the unique challenges of the child, the second family can be more intentionally matched to the child's specific needs. Again, does she even watch any of these videos? Does she not know that Micah went on video and said, I really want a kid who's, got something. It was easier to adopt, faster to adopt. She wanted it because it gives her social points and gives her clout on internet, and she can virtue signal. That's why she did all this. This person is completely missing that, right? We get that this happens, but she clearly is not. Wiener, you have not studied this thing. And I can be guilty of not studying something too. But for this Stauffer situation, I'm pretty well versed in it now, for sure. She goes on to say, rather than deal with these judgments, families often suffer in silence, painfully conflicted. Okay, often they suffer in silence. This family didn't. They put it on YouTube for everybody to see. Painfully conflicted. If we make an adoption look less than appealing, we hurt the cause. If we tell the truth, we violate our kids' privacy. If we stay silent, we're all worse off. Violate your kids' privacy. Okay, let's hinge on that. Is she just literally forgetting this whole situation? We're not saying this stuff doesn't happen. We're not saying that she's right in some of these points. What we're saying is that they took this kid and monetized an adoption before they even brought him home. They crowdfunded for the adoption, which means they could have afforded it. They asked people to pay for it. Brought this kid home and monetized him in every video, uncovering everything about this kid, all of his issues. Are you over yourself?
Huxley has had multiple meltdowns, and that's why you don't see Huxley a lot in the vlogs. He's probably having a meltdown.
He's just having a bad day. He's a grumpy day today.
Sitting on a stairs, food. This kid has food issues. Duct taped his hand. He signs, so you took away his voice. We're silent on the fact that you got rid of him, went to Bali to celebrate, came back, and then realized you're about to be canceled, so did a half-assed apology video, and then went silent on it and started talking to your lawyers. That's the situation, this girl. Where's that point in this? Here's point number 6. You're stupid, Wiener. You didn't research this issue and you just wrote a blog because you got 7 kids and you want to be a blogger, a mommy blogger. What pisses me off the most about this whole thing, she writes this. To the Stauffer family, you have my solidarity and my prayers. I applaud your courage and humility. Please take care of yourselves and each other. One day you'll find solace in knowing you did the hardest thing with the humblest of courage. Aware that the cost would be the pain of seeing yourself judged. The humblest of courage. Raise your hand if you think Micah is humble. Put your hand down, you're lying. Courage. I do want to say, yeah, it took courage to put that video out where you fake apologized and thought that people would be like cool with that. That takes, well, that's just dumb, but dumb courage. Okay, Heidi Wiener, you're wrong about all this. Okay, I get some of your points, but I want to touch on this from a pastor's perspective. You're writing in a religious magazine. I assume you're religious, Christian, Catholic, something weird. All of the comments I read basically are like, you're wrong, and she's right. Purple 8-Ball says, delete this garbage of writing. Thanks, Purple 8-Ball. I love you. Purple Bowtie, who I love, and I think if I'm reading this right, Purple Bowtie is an elderly, cute lady who knits for her grandkids and feeds her kids all the junk food when they come to her house. And I like Purple Bowtie. And I'm right about this. She writes, oh, Heidi, you've got to do your research, darling. I can't blame you for not being able to view her previous videos regarding age, since they're now private. Appreciate the article, but it appears you haven't done thorough enough research this family, so therefore your above points feel completely out of touch. So basically this lady saying sweet language, you're a dumbass. Do some research. Thanks, Purple Bowtie. So from a pastor's perspective, this whole thing, and this one does kind of like, this one you're not going to like. Is there redemption for Micah and James? Yes, absolutely. Is there forgiveness? Of course. Is there forgiveness from me or from people who watch this who are pissed off? Sure. It's not our place to forgive. It's really not our place to judge, but we do. And that's kind of human nature. And we're upset and passionate about this thing. So from a Christian perspective, from somebody who does believe, and that's nuanced too, but yeah, there's redemption from all this. There's a place where you can come out on the other side. But here's the issue. There's just, when you go silent on an issue, you talk through lawyers, you do a fake video, and then you just continue like nothing happened. How can you expect people to just be like, you're good to go? It's not going to happen. They did it wrong. And if they claim to be Christians like they do, maybe they asked for H's forgiveness, I don't know. But the issue is that it's just too much proof of grossness that we can see with our own eyes on videos and in posts that she's made that just make this really gross. And there's just no getting around it. But yes, there's redemption. Of course there is. Everybody deserves a second chance. And I agree with that. I just don't think it's their time yet for a second chance. I think they need to be humbled. Like everybody is humbled at some point in their life before they can move on to something else. And maybe just move on from this platform. Just get on with your life. Let people forget about you by taking yourself out of the spotlight. Going to do a real thing with your life, a real job. Get out into the real world and understand nuance of the real world instead of just relying on YouTube to like pay your bills. There, I want to get into really the understanding of family vlogging, YouTube culture, and how much money these people make, and how like everybody would do it if you could. And then what happens when you get canceled? It literally can destroy you. So that's kind of where we are. This article is BS. I'm sorry. She just obviously like me, like everybody making videos, you're capitalizing on this. And let's be real, we are doing that. But I didn't do this to capitalize. That came because of the passion and the fervor that I put behind it. And so now that I have a voice, I'm going to use it. And I don't care what you say down there. Oh, you keep talking about the STAUFFERS. You know what? You keep listening. And those who are negatively commenting, you keep listening. Clearly, I'm saying something that's striking a note here. And so this article pissed me off because she's writing it from a religious perspective, and I kind of get what she's saying. You cannot sit down there and say, I stand in solidarity with you, if you know everything that most people know. And we know the surface. And if you go through these Facebook groups like Cancel Micah, they've had people on here, like I know a neighbor who knew them. And low-key, Micah was like disgusting. Like her voice is different in real life, and she's very mean and yells and everything else like everybody. I'm mean and I yell and I have a different voice when talking to people. But low key, it's just not who it is. You cannot stand in solidarity with someone who does something bad. Standing in solidarity means that you say, I approve of what you're doing here. And you cannot approve of what these people did here. I'm sorry. Rehoming and all that stuff happens, yes. I'm not saying you can't not approve of that. That it's not your place to approve it anyway, or me to approve it. But she missed the whole point of why people are pissed. You made the money. You monetized. You still have them on some of your stuff. You made a ton of cash off the situation, and you still are. And you just go silent on it. That's why people are pissed about this. So, Heidi Weiner, you're wrong. I'm sorry. I'm glad you adopted. Good for you. That's awesome. But people are allowed to have opinions on something, even if they haven't done it. And so what you're saying there is absolutely ridiculous. And you're putting yourself into a private clique that puts you elevates you above people, and that's wrong. You're wrong. So nobody read Heidi Weiner's comments, okay? Thanks for watching today, guys. I've got some more parody videos coming out soon. I've got a conversation with Dr. Kirk Honda I want to bring out about plastic surgery coming out soon. Man, I've got a lot of cool things coming up on the channel, and I'll keep covering this. I'm not going to lie, I will. But I want to do other things too. I really do. I really have some cool stuff I want to podcast to you guys about. A lot of you are women, obviously, we talked about that. And I've got some really cool stuff from our podcast that you can check on any podcast platform. If you're married out there, ladies, and some of you said I'm handsome, I just want to say thanks for that. I appreciate it. It makes me feel good. I'm not going to lie. So I'm just going to get the brows right. But there's a one episode we have, and it's called the 7-Day Sex Challenge. And I want to probably bring this to the YouTube channel. If you want me to talk about other things, like tell me, because I would love to cover things, but like check out the 7-Day Sex Challenge on my podcast, because I want to bring it here. But it's really good. If you're married out there and you're kind of struggling through marriage, especially during COVID, like a lot of people are, check that out. That's really cool when you guys get into that. Otherwise, stay tuned for other things. I wanted to tell you too, you guys remember Tyson, my son, right? He's going to come on another show too. We're going to talk, so we're going to have some commentary. But Tyson has this clothing company, okay? It's called Never Forever. So it's an infinity logo. Where is this? It's an infinity logo with a strike through it. He designed this. My son designed this, and I helped him with the clothing. And they started a business for school, for their business class, and like sold $1,000 worth of shirts and hoodies at school with this awesome logo, by the way. Such a good logo. I was actually like, you designed this? That's amazing. So if you want to support Tyson before he goes to college, because he's going to need money for all the ramen noodles he's going to eat and whatever debauchery he's going to get into, you can head into the below here. There's a little clothing link where you can buy the Chachi shirts and all that stuff, and you can see the Never Forever shirts. I promise that 10%, no, I'm just kidding. I promise that all that money from the Never Forever clothing line goes into Tyson's pocket for school. So I wanted to prop that up. He didn't ask me to. He would never ask me to, but I think his shirts are really cool. A lot of cool logos. He calls it Never Forever because nothing lasts forever. So give everything you got. Basically, go hard. So Never Forever, nothing lasts forever. Get in there, get that shirt if you want, and Tyson will thank you. He's going to come on another video soon. We're going to talk about some other things, get into some of the more culture things he understands, Jake Paul and all these things that he's looking into, and hip hop and rap. A lot of you are parents out there, so I think this is going to be really cool to get into that and talk to you about parenting. More of that. parenting. That's kind of why I do this. And so this whole thing with the Stauffers has like been this commentary about parenting, especially from an adoptive parent. So I hope you understand that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like or subscribe, or don't. Whatever. I don't care. You're my therapy. I love talking to you. And thanks for thinking I'm handsome, you know? Just like my wife's like rolls her eyes when I read a comment. Like someone said I'm handsome. She's like, mm-hmm. My wife's a good lady. She is way too good for me. So she's probably right. Our wives are always right, right? Oh, and I forgot to mention, guys, Everly decided to come in here with her bedhead. I'm going to exploit my kids. Come say hi, Ever.
Hey.
Everly's 7. She's a very good singer. She's an amazing person. But remember, we found this in the van. It's our coach purse. Everly, and we're going to honor that contest. Whoever came close is going to win a Chachi shirt of your size and color. Everly, how much money is in here? Come tell everybody.
$10.20.
And for all those of you out there who are not Canadian, we don't have pennies. We have defunded the penny. It is gone. Sorry. I think someone came close with $10. So if that's you, you win a Chachi shirt, and I will get a hold of you and you will win. Everly, say congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Weston, are you in your underwear right now? Okay, let's cancel this.